The night my father came home, the wind howled like it knew a secret. I remember sitting on the living room floor, lining up my toy cars with obsessive care when the front door creaked open without the familiar rhythm of his knock. And for a moment, my heart leaped with relief. My father, Daniel Harper, had been missing for 3 years. 3 years of unanswered prayers, empty chairs at dinner, and my mother staring at the door as if willing it to open. But when I looked up, the man standing in the doorway wore my father's face, and nothing else about him felt right. His eyes were wrong, not empty, not angry, just distant, as if he were looking through us instead of at us. My mother, Evelyn Harper, froze mid-step, her hand hovering near her chest. She whispered his name like it might shatter if spoken too loudly. Daniel, the man smiled. It was my father's smile. Same crooked tilt, same faint dimple. Yet something in it made my stomach twist. "I'm home," he said. And that was the moment I understood fear in a way no child ever should. 3 years earlier, he worked as a structural engineer, came home every evening at exactly 6:30, and never missed Sunday pancakes. The night he disappeared, he was supposed to return from a short inspection job outside the city. He called once, said the bridge project was delayed, and promised to be home by morning. Morning came, then another, then weeks. The police searched, volunteers searched. Hope faded like old photographs left in the sun. Eventually, Daniel Harper was declared legally dead, though my mother never accepted it. She kept his jacket hanging by the door. She kept his phone charged, and she kept believing. So, when the door opened that night, disbelief gave way to desperate joy. My mother ran to him and wrapped her arms around his chest. He hesitated just for a second, but then hugged her back. I watched closely. My father always squeezed tight, lifting her slightly off the ground. This time, his arms rested stiffly, as if he'd learned affection from a manual. "It's really you," she cried, tears soaking his coat. He nodded. "I told you I'd come back." I stood up slowly, my chest pounding. "A dad?" He looked at me, and for a heartbeat, something flickered in his eyes. Recognition, maybe? Or calculation? "Hello, Liam," he said. My name sounded rehearsed. The town celebrated his return like a miracle. Neighbors brought casseroles. Old friends clapped him on the back. The local paper ran a headline, "Man returns after 3 years missing." Everyone wanted his story. He told them very little. He said he'd been held after witnessing something illegal connected to the bridge project. He said powerful people had threatened him. He said he escaped when his captors grew careless. The story was vague, but people filled in the gaps with their own imagination. My mother didn't question him. She was too afraid that doubt might send him away again. But I noticed things. He no longer drank coffee, though he used to start every day with 2 cups. He avoided the basement, where he and I once built model airplanes. He couldn't remember the name of our dog that died when I was 6. Further, when I reminded him, he laughed it off. "Memory's a funny thing," he said. "Trauma scrambles it." I wanted to believe him. I tried. But at night, I heard him pacing the hallway, whispering into his phone in a language I didn't recognize. One evening, I found my mother sitting at the kitchen table, staring at her wedding ring. Mom," I asked softly, "do you think Dad is different?" She flinched. Don't say that." But he forgot, buddy. He forgot Uncle Mark's nickname for him." She looked at me, eyes glossy. People change, Liam. Pain changes them. Don't take him away from me again." Her fear silenced me more than any argument could have. The first real challenge came when my father insisted on selling the house. "This place holds too many memories," he said. "We need a fresh start." My mother resisted at first. That house was the last place she'd seen the real Daniel. But slowly, he wore her down with logic and gentle pressure. I knew why he wanted to leave. The house was full of traces he couldn't explain. The day I found a hidden box in the attic changed everything. I was looking for old photo albums when I discovered a metal container tucked behind insulation. Inside were documents, maps, coded notes, and a photograph of my father with another man who looked exactly like him. My hands shook as I stared at the image. Same face, same height, but the other man stood straighter, colder. Written on the back were the words, "Project Echo Subject B." I didn't sleep that night. I confronted him the next morning while my mother was at work. "Who are you?" I asked, holding up the photograph. For the first time, his calm expression cracked. "Where did you find that?" "So it's true," I whispered. "You're not him." He sighed and sat down heavily, rubbing his temples. I was hoping to avoid this conversation. Fear surged through me. "Where's my father?" His silence was worse than any lie. Finally, he spoke. Your father was a good man, better than most. Was broke. He discovered something he shouldn't have. A classified experiment. Genetic replication. Behavioral mapping. I was created to replace him if necessary. My stomach churned open. Created? He was trained using his memories, his patterns. But memories are data. They don't carry love the same way. I backed away. You killed him. I know, he said quickly. He's alive. The people behind Project Echo couldn't risk exposure, neither could I. Then why are you here? I demanded. Because I defected, he said quietly. Because living as him showed me what humanity actually is. The danger escalated quickly after that. Men in black vehicles began watching the house. Phones crackled with interference. One night, our power went out completely. The organization behind Project Echo wanted their asset back or erased. I told my mother everything. She collapsed into a chair, shaking, denial finally breaking apart. He's not Daniel, she whispered, but he tried to protect us. The imposter. No, the man stood in the doorway, listening. I never meant to hurt you, he said. I was designed to replace him, but I learned from him instead. That was when he made his choice. He handed us a flash drive. This contains evidence, names, locations, enough to end Project Echo. I'll lead them away. The final confrontation happened at the old bridge site where my father disappeared. Government vehicles surrounded the area. Agents shouted orders. The imposters stood in the open, hands raised. I watched from a distance with my mother, clutching each other. The man stepped forward, cold-eyed and authoritative. You were never meant to think for yourself. The imposter looked back at him. That's what made me human. Gunshots echoed through the night. I screamed. When it was over, the agents fled. Sirens wailed in the distance. The imposter lay still, blood staining the concrete, but something else happened. From the shadows, another figure emerged. My father. Older, thinner, but unmistakably real. He ran to us, tears streaming down his face. My mother collapsed into his arms. This time, it was true. The world learned about Project Echo within months. Trials followed. Headlines exploded. The flash drive changed everything, but the man who saved us never lived to see it. We buried him under my father's name, because that's who he chose to be. Years later, I understand the lesson he left behind. Family is not just blood or memory. It's choice. Sacrifice. Love learned, not programmed. My father came home that night, but the one who saved us all was someone else entirely. And in his final act, he proved that being human isn't about how you're made, but what you're willing to give. And that truth changed my life forever.